just women are in danger, but all marginalized people, where being uniquely different right now might truly be considered a crime. It seems as though we had all slipped into a false sense of comfort, that justice would prevail and that good would win in the end. Well, good did not win this election, but good will win in the end. So what today means is that we are far from the end. Today marks the beginning of our story. The revolution starts here. The fight for the right to be free, to be who we are, to be equal. Let's march together through this darkness, and with each step, know that we are not afraid. That we are not alone. That we will not back down. That there is power in our unity, and that no opposing force stands a chance in the face of true solidarity. And to our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything,
Boston Red here with Friday Java, a weekly magazine of political theory, polling, and commentary. It is part of the history called people that make up this fascinating journey. We are part of the Obama network. For that, we make no apologies. What we pledge to do is give you the facts on a bridge to history, what body politics is, the most up-to-date theories of political science and psephology. Stay tuned for this incredible ride. Boston Red, peace out. Friday Java on the 19th of October 2018, beaming from WBRN Radio and on the Boston Red Network. Congratulations to the Boston Red Sox. They have won the pennant of the American League. They will start the World Series on Tuesday. The business will be finished in Milwaukee. The Dodgers of Los Angeles will be in Milwaukee to either close that series out tomorrow night, or later today actually, or they will be there on Saturday. We don't know if that'll be a Game 7 or not, but it's been a very good series. The Red Sox, we're going to go a little out of order here and do sports firstly. And from the Boston Globe, the hero there of the game, at least from the free run homer, Rafael Devers hit a free run homer in the sixth of Game 5 of the American League Championship to lift the Red Sox past the Astros and into the World Series. This is from the Boston Globe. The Red Sox won the series of 4-1. The Red Sox will face the winner, of course, of the Dodgers and Brewers series Tuesday in Boston. They had the best percentage of the Red Sox in Major League Baseball. Craig Kimbrough replaced Nathaniel Eovaldi on the mound after Carlos Correa struck out swinging. Kimbrough walked Yuri Guerrera. I messed it up on 4 pitches, and Marvin Gonzalez struck out looking, and Tony Kemp fouled out to center to end the inning. The Red Sox punched their ticket to the World Series. And this is by innings in the eighth inning. George Springer, you remember him, two base hit into center field, put a runner on first. But Jose Altuve flied out to end the inning. Mitch Moreland struck out swinging in the top to open the inning. Ivan Kinsler ripped a shot to left field and beat the tag at second for a double. He advanced to third after Roberto Azuma threw a ball into the dirt that bounced off the catcher Brian McCain. Chest protected, but he was left stranded. That's in the seventh. We're trying to recap in some of these endings here. The eighth inning, we just did the eighth. And the seventh inning, we go on. It was still 4-1. The bottom there, Matt Barnes replaced David Price on the mound, with 2 outs. Marvin Gonzalez hit a single shot to put the Astros on the board. Barnes then walked Tony Kemp to put a runner on first. Game 3 starter Nathaniel Eovaldi replaced Barnes on the mound, and Joshua Reddick, fouled out to end the inning. Matt Barnes replaced David Price on the mound for the Red Sox. The sixth inning, the score was 6-4. Red Sox, the Astros were still shut out. Mookie Betts, I think Mookie Betts got the most valuable player. We'll check out that in a minute. Made a leaping grab at the wall for an out that was eerie, similar to a Game 4's controversial fan interference. George Springer grounded out, and Jose Altuve struck out swinging to end the inning. The top of the sixth, Mitch Moreland led off the inning with a double. Left fielder Tony Kemp made a play on the ball at the wall and did not catch it. Ivan Kinsler hit a right field single that advanced to Moreland to third, and Rafael Devers drove in both runners with his 3-run homer. And in the fifth inning, it was 1-0 Sox at that time. David Price retired the side in order. The fourth inning, it was 1-0 Sox. Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa struck out. Yuri Garcia, mispronouncing that, ended a 9-pitch at bat with a little drive off the left field wall, and Andrew Benintendi bobbled the ball, allowing Guerrera to easily make it to second, and Marvin Gonzalez struck out to end the inning. Justin Verlander retired the side in order, and Rafael Devers and Christian Vasquez. In the third inning, it was the one David Price retired the side in order. His pitch count was at that time 47. After Andrew Benintendi struck out looking, J.D. Martinez launched a solo home run to the left to give Boston a 1-0 lead. That was in the third, and in the second inning, it was nod. Yuri Guerrero opening the inning with a hard single to center field, but Price retired the next 3 batters to end the inning. Price's pitch count was 35 at that point in time. The first inning, let me get to it. The starter, David Price, allowed 2 singles. Jose Altuve, then he struck out Carlos Correa, looking to end the first. Price had already established a willingness to throw all 4 pitches, 2 and 4 seamers, and his change in cutter. So he's not a one price. He's not a one-pitch pitcher. So Justin Verlander
got 2 quick outs. This is in the first, walk J.D. Martinez before inducing a fieldless choice ground out for Xavier Bogaerts. Anyway, that was a summary of the game. Very quick summary of the games. Evidently some cramps here, just looking at some of the photos here of these players. But it was a very good series. We had, quite frankly, expected Houston to do much better. In fact, possibly win the series. Now, this Houston team this year was a little bit different from the World Series team in that Mr. Giles, one of their better pitchers, was traded away. And that was in itself not a very good thing for Houston, and in my opinion. Different people have obviously different opinions. But there is an old baseball thing from the old timers. There are certain people that are the anchors of teams, and when that person is gone, we saw it happen to the Cubs when Mr. Fowler ended up in St. Louis. Was a different situation there, and the Cubs were never the same. Period. David Price redeemed himself. Well, David Price had some ups, some downs, some things that that happened to him coming from Toronto. He was brought actually to the Red Sox to be the one player that would beat the Yankees. He didn't beat the Yankees, but he did beat the Astros. So I suppose you could say that. Period. Now this is Mookie Betts here. I'm trying to see if he was the. I left the broadcast, unfortunately, and did not get to whether or not he was the player, the most valuable player for the cities. For the series. Sometimes you do it but that was in Houston. That was Wednesday night into Thursday. Well, anyway, this is let's get the World Series schedule. Starts on the 23rd at Fenway Park in Boston, and we'll get that to you, and then we'll go to our regular cast that we normally do. And boy, just 1 second here. Eventually we'll get to it, I suppose. Or we won't. Anyway, let's go back to, let's get a little bit of this, if we can, here, to get you a little bit flavor of Benintendi's catch sends the Sox to the World Series. I don't know if we'll get this or not in here. And then we'll go to the people at the Crystal Ball, which is Larry Sabato's shop. And we'll see where we end up.
He fires, swinging a fly ball left field. Benintendi moving back toward the wall. He reaches up, he makes the catch, and the Red Sox have won the American League pennant for the 14th time in their history. Andrew Benintendi with the last put out there, mobbing Craig Kimbrell, who got the save tonight. David Price with a win, and the Red Sox are going on to the World Series for the first time since 2013. They beat the Houston.
It's kind of funny here. If Boston wins, Joe West is the MVP here. Joe West was an in the series, so kind of a takeoff on Joe West. Not to be, as they say, outdone here. But nonetheless, we'll sometimes when you're looking for things, you don't exactly find things that bound. There's no doubt about that in the Boston Globe here. And David Price just doing a little bit of a roundup here. Normally we would get who the most valuable player is, but we'll we'll have to, as they say, get that later. The World Series schedule. I'm not sure we'll be able to get it. Actually, we can do that from here and find out. Whoops, the schedule from ESPN will start off on. Well, in actuality, we're going to have to start off here. Actually, which Tuesday will start the World Series, and sometimes you have a little bit of problem here. But it will start on Tuesday night, that we know for sure. And, let's see. Yeah, sometimes we can, Well, we're live, and sometimes we can't find things as we would, but nonetheless, back to the scoreboard here, and whoops. And we're not getting our World Series here as we should. Well, wait a minute here. Okay, well, here we go. Finally, we can find this. Anyway, Tuesday night, it will start at the Red Sox. And Wednesday, it will also be at the Red Sox. And it will then shift to either Milwaukee or the Los Angeles on next Friday. 3 games will be played there. And if we still have anything going, we will return to Boston, and that will be on Tuesday the 30th and Wednesday the 31st. So now we know what is going on, and basically it's the same thing with Mr. Price. Chris Sale, incidentally, was going to start this, but he had a stomach illness, so thus Mr. Price came out, and he was the pitcher, and Kimbrough did the save, and well, we can forget about Chris Sale. Let us move on to our agenda here. We'll go to the people at the Larry Sabato's shop, the Crystal Ball. Incidentally, we've been covering a number of debates. This time around, we got the debate in the California governor's contest. That is Gavin Newsom versus Cox. Cox being the Republican transplant from Illinois. That race is a little bit close, but not that close. Gavin Newsom is winning. What we expect to happen is that the race itself will get much closer as we move along, and that will change things. In other words, it get much tighter. We've had some things about the enthusiasm gap between the two. The Republicans are catching up. But we at least see some evidence from Tennessee that there in their early voting, they literally have more people than the election officials can take care of. Just new poll in South Carolina, gubernatorial race is tied, and the Tennessee race is closed. This is from the Crystal Ball on the 17th of October. Now, this is a Reuters, Blackburn leads the former governor 47. This is Breezen, 47 to 43 early in the campaign. The polls might have taken as a good sign for this poll, who generally has been trailing Breezen. However, 3 most recent polls show her with one of a lead of 14 points. That's the New York Times Senior College poll, 8 points in the CBS YouGov, and 5 points in the Fox News poll. This poll perhaps suggests that Blackburn may be slightly more room to grow than Breezen. Just 2% of the self-identified likely Democratic voters say they don't know who they would support or refuse to support, while 6% of the self-identified Republicans. Breezen does better among Democrats at 92% to 3, and Blackburn, of course, with Republicans at 86 to 7. And she is a very conservative Republican, and there were rumors that they actually wanted a different Republican. Now in Georgia, that is Brian Kemp and the former House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams are effectively tied, with Kemp at 47 and Abrams at 46. Now, many of these elections are going to turn out to be, turnout elections. Which party is able to get their people out? Now, one thing to remember, in the South is in Tennessee and in Georgia, a lot of voter suppression there will affect things. There's no doubt about that. And where these polls are in the margin of error, very, very difficult to say. The polls were conducted online in English from the 4th to the 11th of 1,088 likely voters in Georgia, and basically the same in Tennessee. Despite the two states voting markedly different in 2016's race, Trump won Georgia by just 5 points. Now that, and Tennessee by 26 points, unbelievable there. The president's approval rating in each of the states, 51 approval, 48 in the Peach State, that is Georgia. Done a little bit different, better in the Volunteer State. Incidentally, the Volunteer State is the home of Albert Gore. Albert Gore at one time, and his father also, was the senator from Tennessee. Tell you how times have changed. 53 to 46. So it's a little bit better than the national average there. In Georgia, 59% supported Kavanaugh's nomination, 44% opposed his nomination, 51 and 30 in Tennessee, 51 and 39 by a margin of 41 to 42. Tennessee's likely voters say they believed Blackburn was better on issues of the Supreme Court than Breezen. Anyway, this is a Reuters ISOPA poll and the University of Virginia. And incidentally, we always, when we cover the University of Virginia, Charlottesville, remember Heber Heyer, who was killed by white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now to the other part of the crystal ball here. This is a drive for 25, they call it, an update, a seat-by-seat analysis. The crystal ball, the managing editor there, Kyle Klondike, is on October the 18th, but that would have been on yesterday. Race-by-race analysis here. Targets show the party is close to winning a majority, but they do not have it put away. It's our judging on Election Day, less than 3 weeks away. Barring a big positive late change in political environment in favor of Republicans, the bare minimum for Democrats to gain the House is midterm 10s. They need 23 seats. Net gain is not that far, and there are many different paths for Democrats to take it to achieve it. Let me get it right here in a minute. Now, these are some of the seats here. This is McSally. She's running for the Senate in Arizona. We covered that debate. McSally and Sinema, the Democrat in that debate, they're tied up very, very quickly. This is an open seat now in the House. This is McSally's old seat. From leans Democrat to likely Democrat, Mimi Waters. She's in California 45. They moved that to toss-up. We covered the California debates, and we're talking about down in Orange County, that area down there. Peter Roska, that's Illinois 6. leans Democrat in Illinois. Minnesota 8th, that is in northern Minnesota, moved from a toss-up to leans Republican. New Hampshire 1, that was Sheila Porter, Shea Porter, anyway. Likely Democrat there. Steve Cobart, that is Ohio 1, from toss-up to lean Republican. You kind of see where this is more or less going. And Matt Cartwright, that is in Pennsylvania 6, from lean Democrat to likely Democrat. In PA 17, Ruffs versus a Lamb, that's likely a Democrat there. PA 17, open seat. That was old Mark Stanford's seat in South Carolina. From likely Republican to lean Republican there. Hurd, that's in Texas, 23, went from toss-up to lean Republican, and they have an open seat. Jenkins, that's in West Virginia, from a toss-up to likely Republican. Now, these are some Republican toss-ups that are still out there. We went over some. Denham, that's California 10. Knight, California 25. Rockenbacher, that was featured in the California poll that we covered in the California debate. We recently got that information there, that is somewhat underwater. Dave Young, and that's in Iowa 3. That's in the toss-up category. Mike Boose. It's Illinois 11, and they have an open seat. Jenkins in Kansas at 2. That's a toss-up. Mike Bishop in Michigan 3. Bruce Palmquist in Maine 2. Ted Budd, North Carolina 13. A toss-up there. We won't go over all these. Joe Fesco, that's in New York 19, another toss-up category. Claudia Tierney, that's New York 22, upstate New York, all of these. Brian Fitzpatrick, PA 1. Corbison, Texas 7. Pete Sessions, he's been in that. And Dave Bratt, he's the man that dislodged the House leader at one time. That's Virginia 7, and Scott Taylor, Virginia 2. And we won't get into some of these lean Republican, with the exception of Rick Nolan's northern Minnesota 8. That's an open one. He's not running there. Leans Republican, and of course you have likely Republicans. Young, McClintock in California 6. Devin Nunez in California 22. That's unfortunate. And Valenka in California 21. Scott Tippett in Colorado 13. Diaz-Balart, we'd expect that in Florida, 25. If he loses that, there's a big problem there. Stephen King, Iowa 4. We won't go through all of these, but as we said before, I don't want it to be too redundant. Tom Reed, that is in New York 23. Catco, that's New York 24. Those are all upstate New York situations there. Now, with the Democrats, we have one toss-up that is in Minnesota 1. That's Waltz, running for governor. And leans Democrat, Mimi Walters. Car Alarm, Darrell Ice's old seat, California 49. Kaufman is in Colorado 6. And Ross Lathan, that's Florida 21. Bloom in Iowa 1. These are all seats that lean a Democrat. Yoder in Kansas 3. Jason Lewis in Minnesota 2. So basically 2 loss, and Paulson in Minnesota 3 leans Democrat there. Pittenger in North Carolina 9. Another open seat in Jersey 11. Another open seat in Nevada 4. And Rosen's seat there. And let's see what else we got. Oh, Dent, that's PA 7. Barbara Comstock, that is Virginia 10. And Washington 8 is Rocher. And likely Democrat O'Halloran, that is Arizona 1. McSally's old seat, that's open. Amy Barra, that is California 7. California 24, Carbacho. Murphy in Florida 7. Peterson in Minnesota 7. Gottenmeier in Gottenheimer in Jersey 5. And Shea Porter, that's another open seat there. Maloney in New York 18. And Cartwright in Pennsylvania 8. And Lamb in Pennsylvania 17. Those are some of the seats there. And they call some safe Democrat. Those Meacham, Costello in PA 8. A lot of these PA Rust Belt states. Meeham in PA 5. And open seat in Jersey 2. We'd previously described Democrats as being soft favorites in the race for the House, and basically we're still at it. The roadmap hopefully will demonstrate Democrats may yet blow open the battle for the House and win a majority comfortably. There are a number of paths and Republicans to hold as well. Democratic majority is not yet, of course, obviously written in stone. You're being very careful this time around. The updates, pieces we published in February and March, that didn't really have any indication there. We have 2 polls, and we'll get ours out. Our Ouija board, that's our main model, I should say, not polls. And we have a slide rule poll, a secondary poll that we use to sort of, as one would say, tighten things up. We went with the name Drive for 26 as a homage to the 2012 House Democratic slogan, and to reflect the fact that while Democrats need to net 23, they're probably going to lose at least a couple of seats. They but currently hold to Republicans. There's no doubt about that. They will lose some. And looking at in Minnesota for one, that's part of the Rust Belt. They will lose maybe 1 or 2 seats there, but there also is a good chance of picking up 2 seats. So in other words, it'll be a wash. We're moving back. Minnesota 8. We just talked about that from leans a toss. The last polling I've seen there, 8 to 10 points, the Republican was ahead of the Democrat in Minnesota 8th. That's northern Minnesota. 2 other districts open, frequently battleground districts. That's New Hampshire 1. Trump won a seat held by Matt Cartwright. That is Pennsylvania 8 in northeast Pennsylvania, moved from lead Democrat to a likely Democrat. So some of the Rust Belt states, particularly Pennsylvania, has moved back to what we call a command and control state. And the governor's race and Senate race, the Democrats are in good hands. Upgrading the chances in Minnesota, in, where is that? Arizona 2, moving from lean Democrat to likely Democrat. The National Republican Committee stopped spending money in Jersey 2. They've also done that in one of the California districts there. They moved out. That's the Republicans have. Democratic Progress. Washington 8 is the shakiest. One recent poll from Elway Research showed this is Dino Rossi. He's ran for governor. He's ran for everything he can run for. He's up. That's a 10-pointer, 49 to 39 over Kim. Schimler. I think she's a doctor. Is she not? Anyway. If Rossi wins, the Democrats could make up for that in this category by winning 39, a true toss-up. Another Clinton won district. The Republicans, for the Republicans to come out of here, they'd probably need to win both for California 39 and Washington 8th. They're going to lose some seats in California, no doubt about that. It's just how many they'll lose down in Orange County. Now, that'll be very interesting there. Democrats are likely to run ahead of our roadmap, taking into account the likely loss of 16, of PA 16, the new version of the district of Lamb won in March. that district changed over, but he also went into a different district, and that's more of a Republican district. What is it, PA 14? We're moving that race and lean Democrat to a likely Democrat. That's in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is returning to what Pennsylvania used to be. 3 of the 5 vulnerable California incumbents in the Clinton-won districts. They're talking about some of those. Denton, he's California 10. David Vedera, California 21. And Steve Knight in California, I believe 15. Mimi Waters and Rockenbacher not doing, Rockenbacher is not doing, Ruffenbacher is not doing very well in fundraising. He was shown there. He's more likely to go bye-bye. They're in the very vulnerable list out in California. Democratic on track with potential to overperform. That could very well happen. They list here Minnesota 3, Virginia 10. I believe that's Comstocks. Colorado 6 and Illinois 6. This is actually nothing new here. And they got some bonus districts in here. Tom McCarthy, that is Jersey 3, although Trump won that district. Jersey is not, that's sort of like Jersey. Remember, they had the governor there, Two-Ton Christie. Now Two-Ton Christie, I guess, is last I heard he was trying to get in the talk radio. So that tells you what starts to happen in Jersey. They had Christie Whitman at one time there, a moderate so-called type. Two-Ton Christie was a big mouth, and big mouths got to be not too much. A wild card is Collins in western New York. Collins, who, like a Hunter in California, is running under an indictment. Yeah, well, Hunter is actually running under an indictment out in California and is still leading along. So the Republicans have some problems going. There's no doubt about that as to where they are going. In Kansas, we don't hear much from Kansas. We've seen some ads for money to go to Kansas, but other than that, we've not had very many. Yoder, that's an open seat, Kansas 3. Big Jim Thompson running out of the Wichita area. I don't have any polling on him. When we do our polling, we'll look into those districts if there's anything to look into. Conclusions are setting a Democrat floor with less than 3 weeks to go. Favorite open seats are +3, slightly less. Favorite open seats +2. Pennsylvania 4. California incumbents +1. These are plus. Clinton districts incumbents +3. Clinton won historic Republicans district 1. Trump district freshman 1 plus. New York, nothing there. Trump districts Democrats DNA. Kansas a +1. I guess they're only rating one district out of Kansas. So they conclude this with the House majority is within the grasp of Democrats, that there is a potential for them to come up short in terms of ratings. This week's changes leave 212 seats at least leaning to Democrats, 201 are leaning to the Republicans, and 22 toss-ups. Democrats need to win 6 of those. Now, if you talk about 22 toss-ups, the Democrats will win of those toss-ups close to 6 for the House, all of these seats, but currently lean to them, which there's still much in play. There's no doubt about that. So it's going to go down to the last week just before the voting to see exactly where we are. Let me go now to the Washington Post and get some national news here. This Khashoggi deal, the Saudi that columnist actually for the Washington Post, it was killed in an embassy in Turkey. That information is Oh boy. That information is coming out. They had the Saudis were sponsoring a development conference, and we see that everybody pulled out of it. So that story will play out. Will it have any effects on the midterm election? Well, we'll have to see on that. The Crown Prince, how the current Crown Prince changed Saudi Arabia for the worse. Now, old DJ Trump was in Montana, praised Congress for assaulting a reporter. This is just crazy. He's in Missoula, evidently Montana there. This big crisis, Jamal Khashoggi, you here? And, this is Ganefort. Ganefort's got some problems there. He assaulted Ben Jacobson there. That was last year, but in Missoula, on a liberal enclave in the state surrounded by conservative territory, went far in his praise. He traveled to Rome last Monday. He heard that Guilford had body slammed a reporter. Anyway. Then he said, well, wait a minute, I know Colorado pretty well. I think it might help him. Trump told the crowd, and it did. Well, that was the last time around. I'm not sure if all that happens. We'll go to some local coverage here out of Montana. I think we had the Missoula paper up, but we'll have to get it back up once again here. Let me see here. We could pause this and take a station break. Thinking we would get it right away here. Here we go. This is in Missoula. This is the Missoulan newspaper there in Missoula. Just read this dispatch. DJ Trump told a campaign-style rally that his third trip to Montana in 4 months. That's amazing there, because this is John Teschler. Did use the rally in Missoula's International Airport to praise Guilford for body slamming a reporter who pled guilty to a misdemeanor in my kind of guy, he said. Teschler, Democrat, is in a heated election battle with Matt Rosendale, I guess is Rosendale. Hadn't seen, said he has a lot of respect for Rosendale, but I'm also here because I never forget what John Tester did as a man, that of the high quality, did as a man. That is a high quality, the said of Rear Admiral, anyway. He's talking about Candyman Jackson there. Tesla did the right thing, brought forward allegations of complaint against Jackson. $40 million has been spent on this race out in Montana because it's one of 10 places where Democrats are seeking re-election in a Trump state. But again, that's a little deceiving out there. Montana currently has a Democratic governor. Gillifant, I think that's how you pronounce his name, assaulted a reporter. That was with The Guardian in a campaign event in Bozeman, Montana. The President of the United States today applauded the assault on Now, this is the Guardian's U.S. edition. John Mulholland said Thursday night that he was disturbed by the President's message, an American journalist who worked for The Guardian, to celebrate an attack on a journalist. It's simply doing his job, an attack on the First Amendment, someone who had taken oath to defend it. Mulholland said in the aftermath of the murder of, again, this is Jamal Khashoggi. It runs a risk of inviting other assaults on journalists and murders, no doubt, across the world where they often face greater threats. Gillifant is running against Kathleen Williams. Before the rally Thursday night, Williams released an ad saying that his assault and his lies are not Montana values. Gillifant has a history of attacking people whether physically or by undermining of their livelihoods. Gilliford does not represent California values, is what she had to say. While Tester did not support his tax cuts, he said it was because of an extra $1 trillion going to the debt. Trump claims he needs Rosendale in Congress. Well, no doubt he needs him there, but will he get him? All of the polls have John Tester ahead now, and it'd be interesting to see. I'd have to ask Mary, my pal out in Montana, about that, but I don't think they're very enthusiastic. Period. This is Kathleen Williams, and let's see what's happened here. Kathleen Williams outraised Gilliford by $1 million in the race. That is a very positive thing there. This is from the Great Falls Tribune on the 16th of October. The new campaign finance reports show that, incidentally, Gilliford is a multimillionaire. More than Republican Greg Gilliford in a fundraising electoral commission. That's the federal electoral commission. Showed Democratic challenger raised $2.1 million. Gilliford has raised more money than Williams over the entire cycle. Probably no doubt about that. A lot of his own money. Williams reported having 1.2 million on hand at the beginning of October, compared to Gilliford's 397,000. Gilliford hasn't loaned his campaign any money from his personal wealth so far. He may have to do that, but not as of now. We'll put that out on the Twitter feed here. Williams is a good person, and we would like to see Williams win that race. Let's go now to some polling today. We'll have more polling as we get into on the week that was on Saturday morning. We usually always get into the polls in a much more interesting article I'm just looking at. This is by James Moore on CNN. Win or lose, Beto O'Rourke is already changing Texas. There's no doubt about that. In our opinion, Mr. O'Rourke perhaps should throw his hat into the presidential race in 2020. Nonetheless, out of West Virginia, it's the 3rd district here. Miller is ahead by 5. The 3rd district of West Virginia. In Maine, it's tied up there, Peliquis and Golden, 41 and 41. These are all New York Times polls here. Texas, the 3rd, has heard up by 15, I guess, is way up there. Jersey, 11. Sherrill and Weber. Sherrill's ahead, I think that's how you pronounce it, by 11. This is on Friday. Now, we have a Vanderbilt University poll, and we'll find that somewhere here. Breezen's ahead just by 1 in Tennessee. And Feinstein's up by 13. This is the LA Times USC poll, and we see those coming out occasionally. The Vanderbilt University poll has Lee up by 11. Who's Lee running for? Oh, governor of Tennessee. Como is up, by 23. Usually we don't even bother it when they're up by that. Kansas, the 3rd district of Kansas, Davies is up by 9, according to the New York Times Seneca poll. And what else do we have here? Florida, 15. It's tied up between Carlson and Spano. And we have another one here out of a St. Pete poll out of Florida. Has Scott ahead by 2, 49 to 47 over Bill Nelson. And a Gravis poll has Donnelly. This is in Indiana. We covered the debate there between Donnelly, the sheriff, and Broom. Anyway, which Broom he is, but Braun, excuse me. Why do I always call him Broom? Anyway, Mr. Braun there. We'll get him right in a minute here. Mendez up by 7. That's over in Jersey. Another St. Pete poll has Gillum. Andrew Gillum up by 1 over DeSantos. That is a very, very tight poll in Florida. Out in Alaska, that's a 3-person contest. Dunleavy's ahead. Then we have Walker, who is the independent, and Borlich, who used to be the governor and the mayor of Atlanta. Now, of Anchorage. What else do we have here? Newsom and Cox. Newsom up by 8. Now, this is another poll here. 51. Wait a minute here. Newsom is 51. Cox is 43. Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right. Have to re-look at my arithmetic here. Oh, this is KFI. We covered this poll today. This is a statewide poll by Thomas Partners. Thomas Partners, incidentally, KFI AM radio, is a Republican poster. That is one thing to remember. Let me see if we can get the Vanderbilt poll here. Here we go. Now, this is Blackburn at 43, Brisbane at 44. Is a toss-up. A new horse race poll from Vanderbilt University suggests a dead heap. Former Governor Brazen and Blackburn by 1 point to gubernatorial race. Businessman Lee in the Senate race there. Former Nashville Kurt Dent by 11 points. Popularity amongst women, that's why we want to get into this a little bit here. Asked who would vote for, 43% of voters said that they would vote for Blackburn, 44% for Brazen. Women prefer Brazen, 49 to 39. European men prefer Blackburn. 50 to 37 women voters at higher rates than men, giving Brazen his narrow lead. Vote at higher rates. Is more popular among Republicans than Blackburn is amongst Democrats. 15% of Republicans say they plan to vote for him, while just 5% of the Democrats. I wonder what their story is. For governor, 48% say they would choose Lee. I'm not sure who Lee is. Anyway, this is the Vanderbilt poll here. How does it, do you conduct a reliable poll? I'm not sure what this is. We can just let that one go. Nonetheless, this will do it for us. The Friday Java on the 19th of October 2018 from WBRN Radio and on the Boston Red Network. We are continuing to update various things on our bostonred.org site. Visit us there. Also, we are on iHeart, the iHeart mobile app. You will find us. Stitches, a mobile app, you will find us there. You'll find us on YouTube. We appreciate that. Also on Spotify. Interesting. Spotify is in, third or fourth place now as far as people that are accessing us. The Spreaker mobile app, the Spreaker website, various other things there. Facebook, you can find us there. And we're going to add the video part, but I suppose from a practical standpoint, we won't get to that till after the 2018 midterm elections. We're doing some coding around here. So that will not add, I don't think, but we will have some blasts from the past. A midterm that the late, great Jerry Pippin and I did together. We'll get that out before it's over. And the number one issue is healthcare, so we'll be looking more at it. And we'll have out our Ouija board models, predictions, or whatever you want to call it. We'll get those out before the November election. Have a good weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you on a Saturday morning.